Monster, Chapter 4. Hey, who? You stopped to see the pink-haired princess. Of all the people, you didn't think he'd come to see you. What was he doing there? Hwayên, are you busy right now? Chigiri towered over you, unthreateningly, but still very much frightening. No, come in. What do you need? You let Chigiri into your room and told him to sit on the bed. Sorry there aren't any chairs when I first moved in. I'll tell Eagle about it so I can do something. You say sheepishly. It's alright, he said. I don't mind. You sit next to him on the bed. Before it could get awkward, you asked, So, what are you here for? Looking at you, Chigiri said, Well, it's actually been a little secret of mine, but... He rolled up his blue lock suit's pants, exposing his right knee. Right here? Chigiri said, pointing to his ACL. This is where I tore my muscle. My doctor said... He said that if I ever tore the same place again, I'll never be able to play soccer. As a nurse, you must understand how important this is, right? He looked at you with a worried expression, like he wasn't sure if telling you was the right choice or not. You knew if you wanted to make this work, you were going to have to gain trust. Of course, I understand your concern. If I'm getting everything correct, then you want me to keep this a secret as well? You wanted to ask to make sure. Yeah, you won't tell anyone, will you? Chigiri looked around the room as if somebody was there. No, I won't. However, I do suspect this room has been bugged. Even if it wasn't, I have to write a report on all the injuries you guys have sustained during your time here at Blue Lock. Though, thinking about it now, since you didn't sustain this injury because of this Blue Lock thing, I won't be required to write this in my report. Well, Eagle can hear about this all he wants. He probably already knows. I just don't want the rest of the team to know. But with that said, he brushed his hair back. Could you do a checkup on my knee? I just need a little more assurance, and if you have any suggestions as to how to strengthen my knee muscle. Chigiri said it with such determination. It was as if he badly needed that. Please, tell me. But why? It wasn't like he was planning to give up, was he? If he had planned on doing his best in Blue Lock, why wait so late for help? Your thoughts were a jumbled mess as you tried to decipher the kind of person Chigiri is. You watched Chigiri stand up before you spoke. Chigiri, before I do anything, you took a deep breath before continuing. Did you come here to give up? You sensed Chigiri tense and knew you hit the spot. How did you know? Chigiri stuttered as he stepped back. You stared at him blankly. Observation skills, I guess. You say, what kind of person has those types of observation skills? They're on point. Chigiri stepped back even further, causing him to trip and fall on his butt. Chigiri, you stood up alarmed. Are you alright? I didn't mean to scare you, you said worriedly. Chigiri stood up and dusted himself. Sorry, I was just alarmed by the fact that you had guessed correctly. It's incredible. But why, Chigiri? Why do you want to give up? You looked at him, concerned, as he sat down next to you again. It's none of your business. Hwayên, can you just give me a checkup? My team's waiting. Chigiri sounded very uninterested in the previous topic, so you decided to stop pushing it. You put an x-ray over his knee. Although there didn't seem to be anything wrong at first, you took a closer look to see that his bones had slightly been adjusted, and it seemed like his muscles had developed in an unusual way. How curious, you hear yourself say. What was that? Chigiri said. It's just that I noticed your unique muscle structure. You must be a very fast sprinter. You look up at him. Surely he would have known, and now it made sense. One of your other friends had their legs built in a similar structure, and they were fast as hell. Chigiri wasn't that good at hiding his shock, but if he didn't want to talk about it, then you wouldn't push. You knew his secret. He must have wanted to give up because of this one injury, one mistake, and it could be over for him. Understandable. You quickly finish up your work before saying, well, I think so far your legs are good. Your muscles have more or less healed up, though I do agree with the previous doctor that had checked up on you. One more tear in the same spot, and that's it. But don't let that stop you, Chigiri. I know you're capable of being amazing. You smile at him encouragingly. You're learning a lot here at Blue Lock. One of the biggest ways to heal your team is through the bandages of encouragement and to smear as much faith as you can into their wounds of failure. Thank you, Wyan. And I'm sorry if I was a bit mean to you, but I really appreciate your work. Chigiri said as you handed him a bag. What's this for? He asked. Oh, there should be some pills in there. One's for your leg and one for Gamamaru. The one for you should say something about muscles or whatever. Take the pill daily. It'll really help your muscles develop. The compound never said anything about drugs, so I think it should be okay to give you those. After all, they're supposed to enhance the healing of muscles. As for the one I have for Gamamaru, there'll be painkillers that he can take, as well as pills that can help him sleep better. Give it to him for me, will you? You looked at Chigiri, although you already knew he'll do it for you. Yeah, sure, Chigiri said as he walked out the door. At the last moment before the door closed, he said, Thanks again, Wyan. You really make a good nurse for a high schooler. Yeah, no problem, just... By the time you realized what he said, he was already out of your room. Good? For a high schooler? You were fantastic for a high schooler. You scoffed. Stupid Chigiri, I'll show him. For now, though, you've got a few things to write down. Here at Blue Lock, you intended to study all of them. It was what the monster would have wanted you to do. No, not wanted. It was exactly what the monster wanted you to do. That night, you listened in on Team C's meeting. You had been formally introduced to a lot of them, so you were pretty comfortable with them. You sat next to Bachira until you glanced over at him to see him almost falling asleep. You jabbed him on the side. Pay attention, you need to hear on your team's plan. He yawned. Oh, you're so serious, Wyan. Just then, Kuan appeared out of the shower looking quite exhausted. All he did was take a shower, so why did he look so worked up? As the others made fun of him for his look, you overheard an interesting comment from somewhere. Don't die on us, or we'll be down to 10 players. Remember that, your monster said. Leave me alone. You said. It had been a little louder than intended, and Bachira heard it. Oh, sorry, Wyan. Bachira had been leaning onto you, but now he shied himself away. No, Bachira, I didn't mean you. I was talking to myself. Sorry, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. To make sure that he didn't worry himself to death over that, you brushed his head onto your shoulder. You hadn't realized that the rest of the team were staring at you, and suddenly you felt a little self-conscious. Don't get too attached, Bachira, Isagi said, or else you'll try to injure yourself every game to see her. A few laughs, and with that, the meeting resumed. Part of you felt relieved, but part of you also felt confused. You guys had better things to do than talk about the questionable relationship Bachira and yourself had developed. As the meeting went on, 3 things kept your mind occupied. 1. Who decided that Kuan should be the one naming your tactics, because the Southern whatever it was a horrible name for their next tactic. 2nd, the fact that Chigiri wanted to keep his speed a secret, the fact he was so overprotective of that secret. But when he came to you, the monster in you, the unthinkable shine of hope in his eyes, you were a last resort. He did love soccer. He really did, but his actions were so confusing. Did you really give off a sense of trustworthiness? Because if not, what told him to tell you? It must have been the monster. All your life, the monster took care of you. The monster did everything for you. You became the person you were because of the monster. The monster must have steered him into your direction. And third, that comment about going from 11 to 10 players. It didn't sit right with you. You wanted to tell someone, but you didn't know who to tell. And even then, you didn't even know if you should tell anyone. Maybe it was best that you kept it to yourself. Bachira was leaning onto your shoulder, and you were more aware of that now. His hair fell onto your shoulders, and how his body went up and down as he inhaled and exhaled. Soon, you were falling asleep yourself. Guys, this is Bachira's POV. So, she's fallen asleep, huh? What a cutie. Well, that concludes the meeting. Go to sleep, everyone. We'll need the energy for tomorrow, Kuan said. Oh, and Wayne, thanks for joining us. It's really... Oh, she's asleep. I woke up with a yawn and smiled. Don't worry, I'll bring her back to her room. You guys can go to bed first. Carefully, I picked Wayne up from the ground as everyone scuffled around in the background. Using her fingerprint, I unlocked her room for her and entered while holding her bridal style. It was easier that way to admire her face. Her features were so perfect, so gorgeous that no painter could capture her beauty. So wonderful that she could have been bliss herself. I set her down onto the bed carefully and pulled the sheets over her head. I touched her hands to make sure they weren't too cold or burning hot. They felt fine, so I guess the temperature of the room wasn't uncomfortable for her. Looking at her now, I had this irresistible urge to kiss her, on the cheek, on the neck, maybe even on the mouth. As I leaned in closer, I decided to go for the forehead. A quick peck, I told myself. Good night, Wayne. Opening the door, I saw everybody already in bed. I went ahead and joined the rest of my team. Okay, so... Yes, I've been gone, leave me alone. Anyways, yeah, so I have been gone for a little while. Oh gosh. Okay, well, I hope you have an amazing evening, an amazing afternoon, an amazing morning, whenever you are, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.